Capable fill in, I'm sure. Everybody thinks will go well. Okay, most of you all were here on Saturday. The Bears go to 6-0, a 34-7 win over Princeton for the second consecutive game. Bears intercepted 4 passes. Of course, T.J. Moore had 3 of those. The rankings are just in. Stats, number 7. Coaches Association, number 7. Just a couple of numbers to share with you before we start today. Bring Coach up and talk about that game and preview Samford. The Bears are first in scoring defense in the nation. 7.67 a game. First in rushing defense, 38.8 yards a game. First in passes intercepted, 13 of those. First in defensive touchdowns. They're second in 3 categories: third down conversion, first downs allowed, total defense. Individually, T.J. Moore is first in the nation with 5 interceptions. D.J. Smith still first in the nation at completion percentage, 76.8. And Braden Smith first in the nation in punt returns, 22.6. Career tackles, well, it's tightening up. Tyler Ward's still on the leaderboard at 332, but now Isaac Dowling has 330. Ken Stanley with 322. So 2 guys on the current team are pursuing the career tackle record. All right, as we look ahead to Samford this weekend, it's always a tough battle going to Birmingham. Overall, we're 14-15-1. Modern day, we're 3-7, but the Bears have won 3 of the last 5 against Samford. So it's going to be certainly a challenge, but a good trip that Coach will preview here in just a moment. But first, let's bring Coach up, talk about Princeton, and then we'll take a look at Samford. Coach?
Good afternoon. Good to see everybody. Appreciate y'all being here. Awesome day last Saturday here on campus, right? Weather was perfect. Pretty unique opportunity, again, as we talk going into the game, to play an Ivy League school. They very rarely travel outside the Northeast, so to have them here in Macon was a big deal, right? Kind of cool, right? The trivia is they played in the very first college football game, so to have them on our campus, to have a great opponent, to have an unbelievable game day atmosphere. I can't say enough about our student section. I think that's the best that's been since I've been here, and they continue to show up and show out. Number of faculty and just administrators on campus, so really appreciative of all those that attended. As far as the game goes, huge win for us in our program. Princeton's a team that's had remarkable consistency. They've won a number of Ivy League championships and just a really quality and solid team year in and year out. So as far as our performance goes, you can't say enough about our defense. With some injuries occurring on our offense, you can always really count on just the consistency with which our defense is playing. Anytime that you hold the team under 200 yards of total offense, that you hold them to, I think they were 3 of 12 or something like that on third down percentage, and then you have the opportunity to create 6 takeaways. And what that does is we've talked time of possession before, but we had over 33 minutes of time of possession, and a big part of that is because those takeaway gives us extra possessions, extra time on offense, extra opportunity to succeed in that way. They also put 7 points up on the board. We continue to try to make teams one-dimensional. Princeton did do a decent job getting some run game going, but we did much better in our pass defense this week, obviously with the 4 interceptions. And T.J. Moore, again, a senior who's playing his best football, a captain. I can't say enough about what he's meant to our defense with 3 big interceptions on the day. And then Miles Redding with the huge interception in the end zone. Isaac Dowling's strip sack, and then really a tremendous play by Braden Dudley on the effort to getting the ball to score a touchdown as opposed to just settling for a safety on that strip sack. So all in all, a solid day on defense. On special teams, we were able to put points on the board. Braden Smith had a tremendous day in the return game. I think he had 134 yards and punt returns that day. I think he was just 149 total on the day. So again, our special teams continue to not just be an afterthought or something that people just give lip service to. They continue to affect the outcomes of our game and our team's performance positively. And then offensively, I think you saw, I was really excited. I thought we did a tremendous job with the game plan. We came out of the gate, went right down the field, had to settle for a field goal, but we were moving the ball pretty consistently. Stalled out there for a little bit, decided, we were 0 for 6, I think, at halftime on third downs. Felt like we needed a little bit of a spark. Ended up going with a quarterback change, putting Whit Neubauer in, a freshman, and I thought he added that spark. I think he was 7 of 11 for 125 yards once he came in, afforded us the opportunity to move the ball down the field a little bit more. But I think the thing we did best all day offensively was, man, we really consistently ran the football. And again, we go back to talking about wanting to control the line of scrimmage, I think before you add in the sacks, we were right around 200 yards. I think we finished with about 181 on the day. So just a really solid day of moving the football, scoring and taking the opportunities that we had, again, with a few injuries there offensively. So all in all, great day, a 4-score win at home in front of our fans against one of the longest playing teams in the country. So pretty pleased. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
What was that like seeing a freshman kind of step up to the challenge and have a pretty good solid second half for you guys?
Yeah, I think the thing about Witt is like everybody in the building knows the kid's got a huge arm. Like you can see the arm talent right away. He's a little bit, he's our biggest quarterback, right? He's 6'4", almost 6'5", well over 200 pounds. And, we've seen the arm strength since the first day he's been on campus. But just like any freshman, and especially at the quarterback position, it takes them a minute to get going. It takes them a minute to get comfortable with the formations and all the stuff, because the quarterback's got to know everything. They got to have a concept of the protections. And so to see him execute the way he did, and really I thought he was unfazed, right? Because the game wasn't, it was 17-7 at that point. So it wasn't like, we were blowing him out and put him in late. We put him in meaningful moments. And again, I thought he added the spark that we were looking for.
Coach, what are you seeing on film from Samford so far? What's the biggest challenges that they're going to bring up?
Yeah, I think, the Chris Hatcher offense, right? Like Coach Hatcher's done a brilliant job of putting together offenses. They throw the ball quite a bit. They throw the ball to run the ball. But their quarterback can beat you with his legs. He can move around a little bit more. I think a number of their skill players are talented, maybe collectively as good of a group as we've probably faced this season so far. And then I think defensively up front, again, I think they're physical. The one linebacker, number 5, has had a heck of a career there. I think he's pushing their all-time leading tackles. So there's some guys that can play football. They have a number of guys that have played a bunch. And, again, it's been a place that's been traditionally, we've had a hard time playing over there in Birmingham. So.
Any status update on DJ Smith for this week?
Yeah, DJ went through warm-ups. Probably could have pressed it, but felt like it was best not to. Fully expect him to be back and recovered, ready to roll.
Let's talk about what you saw from you guys after a bye week. Did you feel it helped them rest them and recover a little bit?
Yeah, I think so, right? I think, I was telling some folks that, I've been in Division II prior to getting here for the last 12 years. It's the only division of football, both FBS, FCS, and Division III all have bye weeks built into their schedule. Division II never had. So had to do a little bit of research on what I felt was best going into the bye week, and went a little more with the NFL model where, they dang near lock the doors at the NFL and keep everybody out. We went 3 days that week, got really good work in, got a bunch of young guys, some reps and some scrimmage situations, really went through a bunch of the, just kind of the fundamental things. But I thought it gave our guys an opportunity to rest up. I thought we were fresh coming out. It was pretty warm on Saturday. I didn't think our conditioning was a factor because we were well rested coming out of the break, and really just a chance to recover. And, we got the meat of our schedule coming up here. So.
Going up to Samford, you guys have kind of been back and forth, home and away so far this year. So going into the road trip, do you change anything, or do you just kind of try to keep the same mindset?
You guys haven't picked up that I'm a consistent person. I wear the same shirt every week, so we ain't changing nothing. We'll leave around the same time. We traditionally try to get over to the hotel somewhere between 4:30 and 5:30 p.m. and we kind of have our nightly routine on Friday, and then our Saturday schedules are all based on what time kickoff is. So now we'll remain pretty consistent in what we're doing.
And then you mentioned Chris Hatcher. Some major connections. It might be a long shot, but doing talking to people around Macon that might be familiar with this game, coaching-wise or his history, any advantages to be found there?
Well, the problem is they're all his family, so I don't think they're giving away any secrets, right? Like, he let me know the second I got there that he was a Macon native. He gave me a restaurant list that I'm working my way through, and no, I doubt anybody's going to give away any secrets.
There's one thing you have to love about this team is so many different guys step up. Talk to us about the concentration it took to catch the Parker Rubble Bay when I went down playing.
Yeah, again, a little bit later in the game, but what we were looking for was we always want continued progress forward, right? And so regardless of score, that was a critical point. It was a 4th down play, and man, just a tremendous catch. I mean, one-handed, secured it, gave us the opportunity to put another touchdown on the board there late in the game. But, again, we talked about TJ Moore a little bit. Parker's a senior. Again, going from that A-back mold to doing more just receiver things for us. And you see him show up every week. He's been tremendous on special teams for us as well.
A couple things you've been most pleased about through the first 6 weeks.
I think, Rick just kind of alluded to it. I think the the unselfishness of this team, that we really, even with the success, no one really cares who makes the plays or gets the accolades. It's what happens at the end. I think you're seeing that defensively. We've had a number of guys step up and make plays. I think that offensively, again, you've seen us. There's been games where 12, 13 guys have caught passes. There's been games where 4 running backs have touched the football, and that very rarely happens. And I just think it speaks to one, again, the kids' unselfishness, and then the coach's ability to utilize the resources we have for what the defenses and offenses are giving us, and just put our kids in good positions to be successful on Saturday.
I know a lot of your success rides, you talk about it a lot on third down. I think you guys were 2 for 12, but season low, I think, is 5 penalties on Saturday afternoon. What was that like, just to kind of see your pre-snap penalties and a lot of things?
It was good. Again, I never want to take away our aggression or our ability to be aggressive in games. And you're going to have some penalties because of that. But again, we work to eliminate the dumb ones, the pre-snap ones, or anything in that personal foul ilk. But that's 2 weeks in a row where we've cut them in half. I think the first 4 games we were averaging 10 penalties, and it's driving me nuts because I'll be honest, if you look over my career, we've been one of the least penalized programs in my time. And sometimes it just happens, but we've got it cleaned up. It seems to be in order. And again, as you go into bigger games, some high-end opponents, you can't give them anything cheap by being undisciplined.
But you said post-game the other day about the gauntlet of the SoCon. I mean, what are you seeing that's sort of raising your eyebrows a little bit?
Yeah, I kind of knew what we were getting into, right? This is a darn good conference, and there's really just no down weeks or gimme games. Every team has enough. And again, I use the example of Wofford last year, right? Wofford's a team that was in a bunch of close games. They were 0 and whatever, and they go into Furman and win the game. And Furman's as good a team as I've seen on film last season. And so I think it just speaks that it's anybody, any week. I think it helps with our team stay focused because there is no lapse. We talk a lot about intent and urgency in this building. It's on the doors right before they go out to practice. And again, I just think it keeps you sharp as you do anything. And so our guys have done a really good job with their practice habits. I'm constantly on them about that because I think those are the biggest thing. I think the sharper you are in practice, the more you can make that and put them in bad positions throughout the course of the week. Then it makes game day easier, and we just got to stay on it. But I've been really impressed with the SoCon, the quality of coaches, the quality of players in the conference.
Justin, did you have something else?
Well, I'm good.
Okay. All right, everybody good? Coach, thanks so much.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Okay, let's go to the offensive side of the ball. Dwayne McGee, our senior running back out of Kissimmee, Florida, came to us by way of Lenore Ryan against Princeton. 19 carries, 115 yards, and a touchdown. His second game, over 100 yards rushing for the season, 504 yards, 3 touchdowns. Dwayne, come up, give us an opening statement about how you feel the season's going and your role on this football team.
How y'all doing? I feel like this season's going very well. It was kind of rough at first, finding the identity and everyone getting to know each other, but after time, everything's coming together, and I feel like everything's going in order so far.
The nickname D-Wee, what's the story? Why did it stick, and then were you accepting of it?
I feel like I kind of didn't have a choice, but me and my dad share the same name, and he was Big D-Wee at his school, so then, as you have a son, everyone always kept saying, oh, that's Little D-Wee, and then I kind of just stuck with it, but now it's like, I'm Big D-Wee now. He's kind of out of the way now.
Describe your running style. What kind of runner do you think?
I kind of feel like I run awkward, to be honest. I be running like I don't want to get touched. Like when I be running the ball, sometimes I stick my back out, or I just be running more so just to control the game in a sense. In my head, I feel like I'm trying to control the game. Sometimes if it's running out of bounds, or if it's just trying to get an extra yard, that's what I would try to take advantage of.
Coach Jacobs talked about 4 different running backs touching the ball. I mean, what's that like? Do you guys have a close room? I mean, how are you feeling just being in that situation?
He keeps us feeling fresh. Like he always expresses throughout the week, I'm gonna make sure you guys have your legs. So on Mondays and stuff, like we always have a good transition between all 4 of us. Like everyone to get a certain amount of plays, and it just keeps all of us energized and keeps everyone going.
What are you seeing from Samford on film?
I seen they're very aggressive. Like Kozika said, their front line is very aggressive. They gang tackle, and with us, like all we got to keep doing is just keep preparing and just work hard throughout the week, and it all worked out for us on Saturday.
You had 4,000 yards at Lenore Ryan. You guys, a lot of teams recruiting you. 2 questions. Why Mercer? And what's the biggest difference you've seen between D2 and FCS?
I'll say the biggest difference, I actually just talked to my coach about it. I'm so used to having 100-yard games, and I've seen like it's bigger. The competition is harder here, so I had to understand, take a step back and understand like it's harder, so you have to work a lot harder. And then really it's just family. Like, you never turn your back on family. Like, Coach Jacobs never gave me a reason to turn my back against him. And I understand many coaches that reached out, and I appreciate them. It was cool to understand, like, my work and all of that was seen by many. But at the end of the day, like, family's all you have. And that's how my family, like, raised me. And growing up with Coach Jacobs, from watching his kids grow up to, like, them helping me grow up. Like, they teach me things. Like, I don't have no brothers growing up, so they're like my little brothers. So being able to be there for them and have them there for me means a lot. So sticking with family is the main reason.
When it's all said and done, what lessons have you learned from Coach Jacobs that you're going to take with you for the rest of your life?
How to be a man, honestly. A lot of things growing up I didn't know how to face and like converse with. And like there's times I just go in his office and sleep. Like before games, the couch, that's like my place to go. So like I go there and sleep, and like it just teaches me honestly like how to be a man and how to handle a lot of things in life.
How does it make you a better player, like, you know, in practice every week running up against this top-ranked defense, you know? Like, what do you think, how do you think that makes you better as a player?
Honestly, at first, I used to think I sucked at practice. I used to come and, like, I wasn't scoring, I wasn't making big plays, but like my coach told me, we have the best linebackers, like, in the country and the best in the SoCon. And with TJ, as we just seen Saturday, he's a very good player. So going against great talent, like grade A talent every day, it only helps me get better. So now, like, when I'm on the field, other players really don't compare to them, so it helps me play on Saturdays.
We talked after the game about how you kind of felt like you weren't all the way where you wanted to be at the beginning of the year. So after a game like that, I mean, obviously you've had good games all year, but how do you translate that momentum like in your head, you know, especially going to another big conference game? You know, how do you want to keep that rolling for yourself going forward?
Honestly, in the beginning of the week, I was kind of down and sick, and like my coaches told me just keep pushing through it. So this week I took a different approach, and I feel like I'm gonna continue to keep that approach. More focused at practice, do things with a lot more intensity. Not that Coach Jacobs, he always expects like the highest intensity from us, but like being sick and stuff, like I was kind of down, but he just kept in my ear like, you gotta just keep going. So the way I practiced this week felt really good. I was very like energetic for Saturday, and I just took care of my body more. So for now, for the rest of the season, that's how I feel like I'll be handling everything.
Going after any given game or successful games, there's always a lot of accolades, folks getting attention. The one group that may not get as much attention is the offensive line. Tell us about the relationship you have with your offensive line and how they allow you to do what you do.
Well, I could say if you're averaging 6 yards a carry, you must be doing really good, in my opinion. So they did really good, and I understand many might say things. In the beginning, it was just a whole bunch of young men. None of us knew each other. So now we all grow relationships. Like today, we'll be catching up today just to figure out more things to fix on. But the more we keep playing together and the more we keep working together, everything's working out. Like today Saturday is not going to be the last time you've seen us have a big game. Like we're coming with the defense we have. They pressure us to be good, and we know a lot's on them. So now we're learning to take more off their plate and just continue to do what we do and just keep working hard. It's all going to come. And with my O-line, they're actually very good. It's just when everything's going so good around them, it's kind of hard to pick out the little things, but like we're on it now. Like I average 6 yards, Michael Bell averaged like 7, CJ averaged like 5. So for you to have multiple backs all get in and all average more than 5 yards, that's really good.
Dwayne, all the 100-yard games in your career, this is probably going to be a trick question, especially in front of your head coach. Would you rather have the 100-yard game, or would you rather have the 2 touchdown games?
I'd rather have the win, honestly. As long as we keep winning, I can't complain. Like the SoCon is a very tough conference, but it's always good to have 100 yards after a game. You feel kind of like good in yourself, but scoring touchdowns is also good too. You got the big points.
How does it feel, you know, taking the weight off the QB situation, you know, being like you said, so many yards per carry in that running back room. How does that make you guys feel?
Like Coach Jacobs always preached to us, they're going to try to stop the run. As soon as they focus so much on the run, we have great wide receivers, a great quarterback, a great O-line. So them continuing trying to focus on the run would just open it up for the back end for the wide receiver. So it's all like one big machine. As long as we just keep working, everything will work well.
Okay, anything else for Dwayne? All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Well, for all the numbers we've talked about in the start of this football team and the success of the defense, a lot of folks have had an input into that, and certainly no one more than Jamal Brown, our defensive coordinator, and also over safeties. He's alma mater. He's alumnus of Bowling Green, but he came to us after 2 seasons at Youngstown State. Jamal, come up if you would, please, and give us an opening statement of how you got these guys to where they are today.
How's everybody doing today? Kind of like I mentioned in the first press conference, for me, coming in, it was really just about figuring out how to get these guys to play fast and play hard. And that's kind of been what we've been about all season, man, trying to put these guys in the best situations so that they can play without thinking, they can play fast, and they can play as physical as possible. We talked about being an opportunistic defense, and, we've taken full advantage of every opportunity that we've had to get our hands on the football. We typically start every week with some type of takeaway circuit, all right, working on interceptions, working on stripping the football, working on strip sacks, working on mirroring the hand of the quarterback. Just continuing to do things like that, man, is paid off for us. And, I think that's why we're having the success that we've been having so far. Questions?
Defense really stepped up on Saturday when you needed it. So what was the message on the sideline just when, offense was struggling? You put, even special teams, was put in a good position for you guys all game.
Mm-hmm.
What was the message on the sideline?
I mean, really for us, man, it's a consistent message, man, week in and week out. Regardless of what's happening on the other side of the ball, they can be going up and down the field, scoring a bunch of touchdowns or not. The thing for us is every time we go out on the field, we're looking to get a stop. You know what I mean? And get the ball back to our offense as many times as we can, whether that's getting a 3 and out, all right, getting an interception or a fumble recovery. Really that's what it's all about is, just playing as hard as we can, regardless of the flow of the game and the situation. All right, we got to make sure that we go out and we take care of our responsibilities.
A lot of coaches will talk about, usually it applies more on offense, scheming depending on personnel, right? When you come in, you've got guys like Ken Stanley, you've got Isaac Downey, you've got TJ Moore, all these guys who are really, really great, players. What do you do as a coach, to position them in a certain way where they'll have the most success, and how does it help you, run the defense?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, man, just trying to make sure that we put them in situations where they aren't like compromised, you know what I mean? And just trying to take advantage of matchups. We have, like you mentioned, good guys on the perimeter at corner. We have a really good linebacker room, and then we have some good guys up front on the defensive line. So, as we go into each week, we kind of look at matchups, like, up front, who can we match, Brayden Manley up with or Arius Nash, in order to get those guys to have some success. We get into some situations on third downs with understanding that, Marquez Thomas is a heck of a athlete. He's really good at tracking the quarterback and things like that. So just, trying to figure out and understand what those guys are good at and put them in those situations where they can excel, at what their strengths are.
Coach, you're coming from the Missouri Valley Conference. It's home to some of the best teams in the FCS, North Dakota State, South Dakota, things like that. Would you say that your experience there and prepping against some of the highest ranked teams in the FCS has helped you transfer to Mercer pretty well?
Yeah, honestly, I would say just my experience throughout my entire coaching career, has helped me up to this point. Even back to when I was a high school football coach and for a season, and I had to really learn how to break things down and really learn how to teach. And I think that has probably been the most beneficial for me. Learning how to, teach things to high school kids and kind of get them to execute has helped me a lot. But yeah, the Missouri Valley is a great conference, man. Really good conference. Week in and week out, you're playing, great opponents, and I don't think this conference is any different. Like Coach Jacobs said, there's no team on the schedule that you can look at and say, hey, this is going to be an easy one, right? You got to come ready to work every week. So, going through that in the Missouri Valley and then coming here and, kind of dealing with the same thing, definitely prepared me, mentally, understanding that, myself and our defensive staff, every week we got to bring it, from a game planning standpoint, and we also got to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to get our guys ready and have their mindset right.
Come on, I won't ask you if anything surprised you by your defensive effort so far, but did you ever look back and go, okay, that's a little better than I thought it was going to be this year?
I mean, I'll be honest, I felt really good about our guys coming into the season. And they continue to surprise me, week in and week out. You go back a few weeks ago, our last game when we played Wofford and we had 4 interceptions. That was, obviously great, but it was a pleasant surprise. And then you can kind of one-up that this week and have 4 interceptions plus 2 sack fumbles and all, in critical situations. I can't do anything but really smile and kind of just think about how blessed we are, as a program, as a coaching staff, for me to be able to coach the young man that I coach, and, just continue to be surprised, man, week in and week out. I'm just happy, man. I can't do anything but smile. And like I said, just continue to do what I can to continue to put them in situations where they can stay confident and go out and execute.
Taking that one step forward as well, you've got the talent, you've got the effort, but you've also inherited tremendous senior leadership. Talk about the Dowlings and the Stanleys that provide the leadership that's empty thus far.
Yeah, so, man, those guys have been great for us. Obviously having 3 guys on defense that are captains with Isaac, with Ken, and TJ is huge. And, one thing, as a coach that I never feel like I have to worry about is if our guys are going to come out with the right mindset at practice, right? Because at the end of the day, we never have to do anything defensively as coaches to get guys ready, man. They're kind of all intrinsically motivated, right? And it starts with those 3 guys, those senior leaders, making sure that nobody's taking plays off, nobody's slacking. Even if there is a moment in practice where, things are going great, you have Isaac Dowling, right, who circle up the defense and, kind of politely give them a piece of his mind and let them know how practice is going, and the flip is switched, automatically. So it's been great, man, to have those guys. They've all played a lot of football, so, from a leadership standpoint, they're doing great, but also just from an execution standpoint and just understanding the game of football, man, it's been tremendous for us.
All right, then final preparation for the hashtag. How much work's to be done going down Saturday? We Samford's a pretty good team, and they do a lot of good things offensively. They'll spread it out. They run the ball well. They throw the ball well. Their quarterback is pretty athletic. So we just got to come out this week focused and kind of work on the things that we do well, and I think the rest will take care of itself. So.
You mentioned matchups. Are there any matchups you have your eye on this week, or you don't want to give that away yet? Not necessarily, man. We're just gonna focus on doing what we do well, understanding what they do well, and then try to make sure we put ourselves in position to kind of take some of those things away. For us, it always starts with stopping the run. So we want to make sure we do a great job at that. Try to force them to become one-dimensional, and like I said, just kind of look at what they do pass game-wise, from alignment and things like that, and try to put them in situations where they can't necessarily get to what they want to get to. So.
Coach, related to Rick's question about leadership, who's the guy that you can count on to keep your unit loose and relaxed?
Man, I would have to say Chris Hill. Chris Hill, he's a senior defensive tackle for us. Regardless of what's going on, regardless of how the day may be going, it's kind of like if I've had a long day of work and I get home and I see my kids and they immediately put a smile on my face, Chris Hill has that type of effect on you, man. He's always upbeat. He's always dancing. He's always, just in a great mood. And then he practices hard. You know what I mean? He plays with great effort when he's on the field. He's, it could be a play 20 yards down the field. He's turning and he's sprinting. And he's just having a great time, and so he's a guy for sure. I mean, there's plenty of guys, but he's a guy who's always going to make sure that we're never too tight, and he's going to keep the room loose, and he's going to make sure that guys are having fun.
All right. Anything else for Coach Brown? All right, thank you, sir. All right, again, Saturday afternoon in Birmingham against Samford. Kickoff is 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern, and then we'll be right back here next Monday to preview a couple of home games coming up. Thanks to everyone. Help yourself with lunch.